All right, everyone. Today, I wanted to really talk about this, really talk about managing your expectations and managing your mindset when it comes to moving forward with your weight loss goals and your fitness goals. I feel like managing expectations and the topic of mindset needs to be talked about so much more frequently because I truly believe that you can have the perfect program, all of the information that you could possibly need to succeed, but without managing your expectations and consistently checking in with your mindset, without those things, being successful in your weight loss and your fitness goals is going to be very difficult and, dare I say, damn near impossible. Okay. So, this is going to be a very important topic to discuss consistently. So, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in here. So, first thing, managing expectations and also your own mindset is what I truly believe to be the secret to long-term and sustainable weight loss. Because, like I said, you can have all of the information, the perfect strategy. Okay. You could Google everything that you need to possibly know on the internet, right? But if we don't do the inner work, if we don't find the strength inside of us to control our thoughts whenever we think them, it's going to be very difficult to move forward. So, first thing that I want to touch on is that the scale does not ever tell you the whole story. Okay. Your menstruation and the fluctuation of your hormones, as well as your very specific stage of life, that can be reflected on the scale. So for example, if you are menstruating, I know me personally, I gain up to 5 pounds every single time I get my period. And before I became very knowledgeable about my own body, this would freak me out. I'd be like, oh my gosh, like, am I gaining weight overnight? What in the world is happening? I can't possibly gain up to 5 pounds whenever I have my period. But this is such a very real reality for so many women. And I want you to keep the fluctuation of your hormones in mind as something that can specifically reflect on the scale. But it doesn't mean that you've gained body weight. Okay. So that's one factor. Something else that can affect the number on the scale is your hydration levels. So if you are new to drinking the recommended preferred amount of water every day and you're consistently now doing this level of hydration may actually reflect as an increased number on the scale. So, for example, if before starting this program, you were hardly drinking any water throughout the day. Maybe you were even drinking soda or, sugar laden drinks throughout the day, but you weren't keeping yourself hydrated with water. As you begin to drink more water, this higher level of hydration could reflect as an increase of a few pounds on the scale, but again, it doesn't mean that you've actually gained weight. Okay, congratulate yourself for being hydrated. That's what I want to say about that. You also need to consider the types of food that you're eating. So if you're eating high sodium foods, this causes bloating, right? This causes water retention. And as we know, bloating and water retention can cause an increased number on the scale. What I've experienced is when women start to, within the first few weeks of the program, they start to take steps to decrease their bloating, they see a drastic decrease in the scale because you're eating more whole foods versus these, high processed, high sodium foods. So definitely want to make sure that if for nothing else but to decrease your bloating and your water retention, to decrease the amount of processed foods and high sodium foods and increase the amount of whole foods that you're intaking. Okay. Something else, something else I think a lot of us can be familiar with is a fun night out. So if you have a night out and you're doing a lot of drinking, you're eating, the fried appetizers, we all love to have a good night out every now and again, but then you make the mistake of weighing yourself the next day. This is something that you do not want to do. Do not weigh yourself after a night like this because you're going to see more times than not you're going to see an increased number in the scale. But again, it doesn't mean that you've gained body fat. It doesn't mean you've gained actual pounds. It just means that your body has not had enough time to process all of the fun things that you've done the previous night, okay? This does not mean that you have completely fallen off of your goals, because I'm not one here to tell you that you can't enjoy a fun night out. But what I do want to tell you is that, number one, do not weigh yourself the day after. And also, make sure that moving forward, you're taking the necessary steps to really get back on track with your goals, okay? And then the last factor that could, affect the number on the scale is new muscle tone. So if you are consistently building muscle, you are changing the shape of your body, you are increasing your metabolism, increasing your body's ability to burn fat, this may reflect as a number on the scale. And I'll tell you something about my own personal story. Whenever I was really getting into the weightlifting and the resistance training, at that point in my life, I don't do this anymore, thank God, but at that point in my life, I was weighing myself like 5 times a week. It was absolutely insane. And I started to realize, like, how is my weight going up, but my clothes feel so much better? And this is a classic case of you getting muscle tone on your body, changing the shape of your body, changing your body composition, which basically means that you're decreasing your body fat and increasing the muscle tone on your body. You may see a few pounds increase on the scale. And this isn't going to be the case for every single one of you, because your goals are different, your bodies are different, everyone's metabolism is different. So don't think that this is necessarily going to be your story, but this is just another example of why the scale doesn't tell the whole story. And listen, you are progressing if you feel better in your clothes. You are progressing if you're seeing less body fat on your body and more muscle tone, okay? Because if you're in this program to become skinny mini, then definitely isn't the program for you, okay? So remember, if you have new muscle tone, this could reflect on the scale. And just a few notes here to let you know, the average adult's weight fluctuates up to 5 or 6 pounds a day. That's pretty crazy, right? And so many factors, like we just talked about, affect the weight increase that you experience throughout the day. So just think about it. You're eating different foods throughout the day, you're hydrating throughout the day, you're exercising throughout the day. It changes all the time. So just another reason to, yes, use the scale as an indicator of your progress, but there are so many other things to consider whenever you are weighing yourself and when you're considering the amount of weight you're losing or gaining. Again, do not weigh yourself right before and right after a workout. And I also want to add on to that, don't weigh yourself after a night of heavy drinking or heavy eating, okay? So the reason why you shouldn't weigh yourself right before and right after a workout, number one, I'm just gonna be real with you, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. The only reason that anybody should be weighing themselves before and after a workout is if they're trying to determine how much water they need to drink to hydrate themselves back to their normal hydration levels. And I'm going to go ahead and guess that that isn't really the goal for most of you if you are weighing yourself after a workout. From my experience, most women weigh themselves after a workout to see how much weight they're losing. That doesn't make sense, because every pound of weight that you have lost after a workout is water weight. And as soon as you start hydrating yourself again, that weight is going to go back to baseline. So just don't do it, okay? You're going to drive yourself crazy. And the last thing I just wanted to note here is that you cannot gain body fat overnight if you're following your strategy. So if you are eating well, if you are progressing in your exercise, if you are not binging, if you are doing the things that are laid out in the goals that you have set for yourself and that we have set for you together, you're not going to gain body fat overnight. So just get that thought out of your mind, okay? Unless you're consistently, hiding an insane amount of binging that you're doing from me and from yourself, then it's all good. You don't really have anything to worry about. So, just remember, the scale doesn't tell the whole story, and there's so many other factors that affect, your weight increase or your decrease, okay? Something else very important, set realistic weight loss goals, okay? I've seen women who, let's say we have a New Year's resolution, right? You want to lose 50 pounds in 2 months, okay? That may be possible for some people, but for most people, we need to go at a very steady pace. We need to be very gradual and very, very smart, right? Setting these SMART goals. So 1 to 2 pounds per week is going to be ideal for sustainable weight loss. All right. And the more that you get out of that 1 to 2 pound per week range, the less sustainable that it's actually going to be. And very quickly, you will realize if you're setting unsustainable weight loss goals, they're going to crash. Those goals are going to crash. You're going to be disappointed. So just, keep things at a relatively gradual pace. Also avoid quick fixes. I talk about this all of the time because it drives me insane. Diet pills, absolutely not. Diet shakes, again, no. Doing any sort of trend diet that is going to get you to lose a crap ton of weight in a short amount of time is not the way to set realistic weight loss goals, because again, you're going to lose that weight in a short period of time, but you are killing your metabolism, which means that you're going to gain that weight right back. Okay. Right. It's a classic story that I really want you to avoid so that you can set yourself up for a lifelong success. All right. That's the whole goal. That's what we're going for. Again, the rate at which you lose the weight will slow as you move through the program. And what I mean by this is that, going back to what I was saying earlier, a lot of women, when they start programs like these, we're decreasing bloat within the first few weeks, right? Just naturally, because you're drinking more water. We're really setting the stage for a body that's better able to digest and process food. So we're increasing the fiber, we're increasing the vegetables, the fruits, the lean protein, and definitely the water. So you will notice that your weight the first few weeks, if you're following the program appropriately, absolutely, you'll notice that you're going to lose weight quicker at the beginning. And then the rate at which you lose weight will begin to slow, but we're still sticking to this 1 to 2 pounds per week goal, right? But I don't want you to get discouraged if you notice, you have a week at the beginning of the program where you lost like 4 or 5, or some women even lose 6 pounds in a week. Some of that is due to bloating. Okay. So just keep it very, manage your expectations and understand that that's not always going to be the case. In fact, most of the time, it's not going to be the case. You're not going to consistently lose 5 pounds a week. It's going to be after the first few weeks, 1 to 2 pounds will be the goal for you. Be patient with your body and learn as you go. All right. We have these awesome goals in mind for ourselves to lose a specific amount of weight in a specific amount of time, and that is great. But we also want to be along the way learning about how our body reacts to certain foods, how our body reacts to getting X amount of hours of sleep a night, because sleep is so important to keeping your metabolism and your hormones in check so that you can experience this long-term weight loss. So it's going to be individualized. So these are discussions that you and I will be having rather than having an entire course module surrounding this. But you do need to learn how to be patient, and of course learn about your body and stay in touch with your body as you are going out throughout this program. And then finally, I want you to ask yourself consistently every week, are my goals realistic for the time frame? So setting ourselves up for failure looks like this. You want to set a goal for a specific week to go to the gym 5 days a week, but the prior week, you only were able to make it twice a week. So in what way does it make sense to have a goal this week be 5 days a week when we couldn't even make it to, or it was difficult to make it to 2 to 3 times the previous week? Okay. Maybe a goal for yourself, instead of doing 2 days a week, you crushed that, you were able to go twice a week. This week, let's go 3 times. right? And then once we crush that, once we maintain that goal, then we can move forward. Setting goals is all about starting where you are at any given time. And I want you to please continue to remind yourself of that. Okay. That's how you're going to experience all of the sustainability and all of these life-changing habits. All right. Consistently check in with your progress and determine the best next steps. So one thing that you want to do is to fight the victim mentality by working with yourself and then working with your coach, which is me, to determine how to best adjust behaviors and goals moving forward. Is this something that, is going to be a work in progress as we work together and move through the program, as we near the end of the program and also beyond if you choose to do continued support. But this is something, and it's not going to be achieved overnight. I most definitely myself did not achieve this overnight, and we are all human. So there are going to be days where we fall into the victim mentality and we think, why is this happening to me? Why am I not progressing as far as quickly or as far as I want to in this specific time frame? But the longer you stay in this mentality, and I know it's so simple to stay in this mentality, but the longer you stay in that mentality, the longer it is going to take to change your own life. And I want you to remember that, okay? Consistently monitor your eating and your exercise habits so that you can look back at what may need improvement. This is one of the biggest reasons why we have you record your meals through the Trainerize app, is that, you have everything on record, right? You have your exercise on record. You can go back and see maybe the pieces that you've been missing that you can learn to improve on in the future. Regularly congratulate yourself for moving forward and also look back to how much you've grown. So there's so many times that we can just get stuck, right? We feel like, oh my gosh, this is just a struggle. Like, why can't I get over this hump? Why can't I lose these last, 15 pounds? What is wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? Again, what we need to do is look backwards. Look at what we need to, not look backwards, but we need to look back at what may need improvement, right? We need to look back at what may need improvement, but we also need to regularly congratulate ourselves for how far we've come. Because yeah, you may feel stuck in whatever week that you're in, but I can guarantee you that you have made multiple improvements in the past few weeks, right? And reminding yourself of those things, reminding yourselves of the fact that, oh, okay, well, I feel stuck now, but I also felt stuck before I even began this program, and look at what I've accomplished so far. Okay, well, that's pretty awesome. Now let me figure out how I'm going to move forward from here. And again, it's a consistent practice. You don't learn these things overnight. You don't learn how to train your mind overnight, all right? But if you want to be great, if you want to do things that you never thought you could do, you have to remind yourself and congratulate yourself for all that you've accomplished up until this point. Regularly set challenging but realistic nutrition and exercise goals. Again, always remembering the SMART goals, always remembering to keep them specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. Always, always, always. And when I say challenging but realistic, going back to what I was saying earlier, you got 2 days of workouts in last week. We're not going to move forward this week with 5. We're going to move this forward this week with 3. Okay, so just another example of what it means to really move forward. And finally, celebrate your non-scale wins every single day. Always takes practice, but ask yourself, how are your energy levels? Did they improve? How did you improve your meals today? How did that affect your energy levels? What were some wins in that area, right? How do you feel in your clothes? Let's forget about the scale for a second. How do you feel in your clothes? How do you feel in your mind? Do you feel more confident? Asking yourself these things and pulling yourself away from the scale every so often can really help you experience what it feels like to feel confident enough to move forward. And the only way you will fail is by doing nothing at all. The only way you will fail is by doing nothing at all. So you must move forward, whatever that looks like for you, okay? And just some extra tips for managing your expectations and your mindset. Do not make up for an off day by starving yourself or I should have put over exercising. I put exercising, but I meant starving yourself or over exercising the next. You need to pick up where you left off. So how many of you have ever felt like this, right? We have one day where we just eat, eat, eat. We don't do any exercise. Maybe we go to McDonald's. Maybe we have a huge dinner and we have a huge dessert. And the next day we just feel like shit about ourselves, right? And no, you've experienced this. What do some of you do? Your action plan, your damage control is to skip your meals the next day, do extra cardio the next day. This is a very unhealthy mentality to have. I've experienced this years ago when I was struggling with anorexia. It's just a constant guilt trip that you're giving yourself. It's a constant battle within yourself, and you need to stop. It takes practice, but you are only hurting yourself by doing these sorts of things, okay? So always pick up where you left off. Forgive yourself. Yeah, you had a big dinner. Who doesn't? You had more dessert than you planned. Who doesn't? All right? You are human. These things happen. There's no reason to feel like you've failed yourself because you haven't. You're human. Like, who hasn't overindulged every now and again? We all have. So just remember, it's okay. Forgive yourself, pick up where you left off, and you're going to be golden. Another tip is to just gradually progress. We all know going from 0 to 100 is not sustainable. Maybe our intentions are good. Maybe we're very ambitious human beings. I know that all of you women are, but it's not sustainable. How many times have you made a plan for yourself without working with a coach or a trainer, and you said, all right, I haven't been to the gym in years. I'm going to get my gym membership. I'm going to go to the gym 5, 6, 7 days a week. I'm going to cut back my calories to 1200, 1200, 1500 calories a day. I'm not eating any sweets. Like, no, just these things don't need to happen. We don't need to drive ourselves crazy in this way. Okay. Gradually progress, always gradually progress. And this is exactly why you're in this program. Practice appreciating your body. Do not compare yourself to anyone else because your journey is yours. That is simply said. I know it's very difficult. I myself sometimes get into the comparison trap, but something that has definitely helped me, and it could help you as well, is unfollowing Instagram influencers that you feel are just, really unhelpful to look at every day. That's just something that you could do, right? Practice appreciating your body by, standing in front of the mirror and staring at your body. I know this sounds kind of intimidating, and if it's that scary, of course, don't do it yet. But a lot of the times just staring at ourselves in the mirror naked can really help us to pinpoint certain things. Sometimes we need to force ourselves to pinpoint certain things. However, I know that you can name a few things about your body that you appreciate. Just don't compare yourself to anyone else because your body is beautiful because it is yours. And this journey is between you, yourself, and you, and me, of course, as your coach. But I'm always here to support, and I never am here to judge. All right. Consistently remind yourself of your own personal why. We all have a reason for doing the things that we do, right? We all have a reason for wanting to lose the weight, for wanting to get more fit. My personal why, just to share, my own personal fitness journey with you. My own personal why is lifting, resistance training, sprinting, all of those things that I couldn't do when I was younger because I was sick that I can do now make me feel incredibly powerful. Yeah, I enjoy how I look in my clothes. That's just it. But if that's the only reason, if I have, if the only reason that I have trained for as many years as I have to get to where I am is because I wanted to look good in a bikini or look good in skinny jeans, if that was the only reason, I would not continue it. I would not. I would think it was a waste of time. I would not be motivated. But because of the fact that I love the strength, the physical and the mental strength. I love the challenges. I love knowing I can do shit that I never thought I could do. Okay. So that's just my own personal why, but you need to find your own. And aesthetics can certainly be one of those reasons, but I encourage you to look deeper and figure out a deeper why for pursuing your goals. And then finally, stop your self-defeating thoughts in their tracks. When you hear it, reframe it. Anytime you hear negative thoughts, that doesn't mean they're true. just because our minds are telling us things doesn't mean those things are actually true about us. And again, this is a practice, but reframing those thoughts is going to be very important for your long-term success. So for your homework, I want you to practice controlling your mind by reframing self-defeating thoughts. So when you experience negative thoughts, such as, I'm not good enough, or I can't reach my goals, I want you to write it down and I want you to intentionally reframe it. And if you don't have a pen and paper or anything like that, you can use the notes application on your phone. You can text it to yourself, whatever you want to do. But this is something that's going to be incredibly powerful the more that you practice it. So for example, instead of these negative thoughts, you could reframe them as, I cannot be perfect, but I can always progress. I will reach my goals because I keep growing forward. I will continue to learn about my body so I can appreciate it more every day. And the changes I am making are improving my quality of life. And even if you don't believe, even if you don't fully believe these positive things that you're telling yourself, you are training your mind to eradicate self-defeating thoughts, and you are training it how to replace those thoughts with more productive, more positive feelings about who you are as a person and who you are about your own success. Okay. So I encourage you to practice this week. If you have any questions about anything that we went over, please let me know, because I'm always here for you in any possible way that you can imagine. I want your success just as much as you do. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have. So I will talk to you ladies soon. And I hope this training was very valuable to you. And again, let me know if you have any questions.